You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in to the Outspoken Sportscast. This is your host Brian and Craig. What's up, Craig?
How you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing good. We got a episode 135 talks on Tuesday, quarterback battle edition, as we've found out that Baker and Darnold will actually be battling it out in the to see who's going to get the starting quarterback position. We got the headlines of the week for you this week. We got a plethora of stuff. The Steelers renamed their stadium. The big Marion Barber passes away, and we find out why. We have some baseball news as well for you and some possible NBA trades right after this, guys. Hey guys, welcome in. It's the Outspoken Sportscast here. We just did our intro video. We got the headlines of the week for you. Quarterback battle edition here, episode 135. We just learned today that Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold will be battling it out to see who wins the Panthers starting quarterback battle. Now, in my head, I automatically assume that Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold, and I'm a bit surprised by this because I figured getting Baker, they would have to get rid of Sam Darnold and move on from him because it's pretty expensive backup at the end of the day if he's not going to win the quarterback battle. Maybe if he doesn't win it, they do look for a trade partner, which I don't know who they'd get, knowing that how much they would get, knowing that they basically just need to kind of get rid of him. Do you think Sam Darnold has a fighting chance against Baker Mayfield? Do you think those two quarterbacks are that far off from each other?
They're definitely that far off from each other. It definitely just surprises me that you go make the trade and then not automatically just give the guy the keys to the car. I mean, you gave up stuff for him and you bartered it to where Cleveland pays $10 million of his salary to help your salary cap deal, and so you could get off the hook of the Darnold money and have a better quarterback. It just to me doesn't, unless they feel that they owe Darnold something. But if I'm the head coach whose job's on the line, I'm like, nope, we're going with Baker. That gives me the best shot to win. But I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
I think Baker will ultimately win it out. Hopefully he's completely healthy after his shoulder injuries last year. And
maybe that's the one thing they don't know for sure.
Right. And maybe they don't want to be like the Browns and they want to have that secure backup. The Browns have got Jacoby Brissett and I don't know who else. But I think Baker's the heavy favorite. Unless he doesn't pick up that playbook well enough. I think that's Sam Darnold's only advantage is that he knows the playbook. He knows what they're going to be running So it's going to be interesting. Unless did they get a new offensive coordinator that you know? Because he brought in the LSU's offensive coordinator, and I can't think of his name. Is when they won the championship there at LSU, and he brought him in. But I think he might have been fired already because I think they're going with a whole new staff this season, other than the head coach, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe they both got to learn a new playbook, and maybe it's not the same offense, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, they got Joe Brady from the Buffalo Bills.
Okay. Yeah, it's a whole new offense. Maybe it's similar, maybe it's not. So I was just thinking.
They fired Brady.
I thought
Ben McAdoo, that's who it is. McAdoo is the OC there now. And
that's not
McAdoo,
good.
if you go back to when they drafted him, McAdoo told everybody that they didn't draft Baker because he wasn't any good. So here's your offensive coordinator in Carolina. They trade for the guy, and the offensive coordinator in Carolina doesn't think the guy they traded for is worth peanuts.
Or his wide receivers to be throwing the ball too. So
right, yeah.
You got two non-believers there in Baker Mayfield, and that's going to be an interesting locker room, especially with how cocky Baker can get. So, look, I hope to see Baker win this position. I hope to see his cockiness come out game one because they faced the Browns game one. I hope he's over there grabbing his crotch against Cleveland. I wonder, will Baker Mayfield get booed when he goes back to Cleveland?
Oh, I think so. I think the way he left, he didn't leave on good terms, and especially with what's going on with Deshaun, when you tell the team, no, you gave up on me. I'm not helping you through this. I'm not gonna, because he had two ways to handle the situation. Right. He could have gone back to Cleveland and I mean, not necessarily to beat Deshaun out, but he knows he's going to get suspended. He goes back to Cleveland and signs his own paycheck and basically leads Cleveland to a playoff spot or leads Cleveland to 7 or 8 wins while Deshaun's suspended and can write his own paycheck for next year. Now he could do the same thing with Carolina, but I mean, it would have showed a whole different side to him that nobody's seen. The leadership role, the I'm going to prove everybody wrong role. And he just didn't do that. And he already came out in the news conference today and he said, "Oh yeah, I've circled the Cleveland game on the calendar. I know it's there and I know the hype and I'm going to be ready."
Yeah, I mean, he probably will get booed. I just don't think it's justified as far.
Justified?
I don't think it's justified. Do you think it's justified or?
I mean, I think I see Cleveland, the fan basis standpoint, because he gave up and said, "I'm not coming to help you" when Deshaun's suspended. But I also get why he didn't do it. Why he didn't, he is the guy that he was the one guy that you drafted that was the best guy you've drafted in over a decade over there. They've had quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. You have the laundry list of names. And Baker's the only one that did anything and got him to a playoff game and got him a playoff win and got him out of the drought they were in. But he burned a lot of bridges on the way out.
And that's why that's why I think it's unjustified from a fan base, is because he did all those things. And then after he did all those things, you basically threw him under the bus. Your ownership comes out and says he's immature, and he might be. But to come out after he's done what he's done for the organization, who hasn't seen a lick bit of success in ages at that position, they turned on him so quick there in Cleveland that I don't blame Baker for doing what he did and say, "Hey, no, you don't want me, then trade me." So it's going to be interesting. I do think he gets booed, pretty bad. I wonder if there's any Cleveland fans out there. If there is, please feel free to reach out to us that feel for Baker Mayfield, because I'm not sure. I mean, we talked about it a long time ago with Deshaun. Can you sign up and be a Deshaun fan? I mean, I guess you can if you're a Cleveland Brown fan, but I don't know who else is. Are those fans still Baker Mayfield fans? I don't know where they go from here. There's a lot of uncertainty with the season going into being a Cleveland Brown fan, and the Cleveland Browned it up big time this whole season.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The definition. All right, well, we are live streaming right now to YouTube, to Twitch, to Facebook, and Twitter. If you want to get on here and comment on the show, we started a little bit early today, but want to get on here and comment with us, go to YouTube. You can comment directly to the show, and we'll put you on the show as we cover the main headlines of the week. And sticking with the NFL, this just came out today, right before the show started. We kind of had to add it last minute, but the NFL has offered Deshaun Watson a 12-game suspension where he can reapply to see where that suspension would go from there, to see if they could, after 12 games, they think it's enough, or to see if he needs more. Watson has turned it down. The NFL Players Association has turned it down. They want an actual number of games, and they don't want the indefinite kind of lingering around. Now, I don't know about you, Craig. I've never heard of a player be able to turn down a suspension. Oh, well, it's not just going to work. I've never heard of him be able to negotiate kind of how many games they're going to take. I think that's a great compromise. You get 12 games no matter what, and if nothing else comes out, maybe we sit here and talk about you coming back this season. But I think what you've said all along, Craig, is right. They are kind of saving themselves of, okay, we'll give you 12 games. If something else comes out during this season, which there might be, you never know, any day that somebody else could come out where they want to add more games on. And I understand both sides, because I understand the NFL Players Association, not really Deshaun. I don't care what Deshaun Watson has to think, but the Players Association does not want the indefinite suspension because it allows that door to be open for other suspensions as well. And then you have guys who might be wrongfully suspended, because the NFL, we all know, they sit on their hands and they're not quick to action. So it could allow those players to be suspended 6 games and we'll see at the end of it, and it could go and drag on, or I don't know. It's just interesting. I've never heard of in my life of a player saying, that's not going to work for me. What else you got? But apparently that's what Deshaun's side's coming from. So,
well, this whole thing has been handled differently than any other suspension we've seen. It hasn't been handled the cut and dry way from the word go. The NFL has offered an indefinite suspension with the ability to reapply after 12 games, which means we're not going to give you a number up front. But if nothing comes out in the middle of the season, then maybe we can let you reapply, and we'll decide from there. I think Deshaun and the Players Association doesn't want this for 2 reasons. One, like you said, they don't want to open the door because they got Kamara coming down the pipe, and we don't have any idea what's going on with there. That could be another lengthy suspension from what we're reading. Nobody knows what he did. They're just preparing for lengthy suspensions. And then they also believe that Deshaun has more behind him. They and they think that, I think Deshaun knows this. I think the Players Association knows this, and I think they want to get this thing out and nipped and a solid flat rate suspension before more comes out, because I believe they have more that they know of.
Right. And
so, yeah, it's unprecedented. It's something that we've never heard. But like I said, the entire time, this has not been. Every other been is 6 games done, over with, on about your day. This has been handled differently. And it's bigger. It's bigger than anything you've ever dealt. The Zeke case was kind of cut and dry. The running back from the Ravens, the Ray Rice deal, it was cut and dry. There was a video. Nobody really knows, and we may never know what actually happened with Deshaun, what he actually did, what's true, what's not true. And that's for this arbitrator and the NFL to come to a conclusion and decide. And the report was due to the judge yesterday. So by the end of the week, we should have something. We should have a ruling by the end of the week. Training camp is coming on. The Cleveland Browns need to know what they need to do at quarterback. And Deshaun Watson needs to know whether he's playing football this year.
Right. Well, and this is going to set the stage for future suspensions.
100%.
what this is here. And they can't, the whole Ray Rice thing was a debacle. They suspended him 2 games. Then they came out with a video that they said they never saw, which I don't believe that one bit. I think they saw it and they were
100%.
hoping it was hidden. And then that came out and they were like, whoa, you let this guy back on the field after 2 games. And then they tried to suspend him again. They said, wait a minute. You already suspended me for that. You can't punish me again for something you've already. And that's true. I agree on that side of the Ray Rice story that you've already punished me for this. How
Yeah, it's
how
just
are you
like
gonna punish
double
me again?
jeopardy. You
Yes,
can't say you're not guilty of murder, and then you come back and go, we found some more.
So
back and get
I think if they gave Deshaun and said, hey, look, your suspension is 12 games and that's it, and then after those 12 games, something or halfway through the season or whatever, 6 games in, more come out, then the NFL's looking bad and going, wait a minute, we can't let this guy back on the field.
And
what do you do at that point? And then you can't
you
punish
can't
him
repunish
more.
him again for the
You're exactly right. And I think that's a fair deal what the NFL offered. 12 games, and if anything else happens, then we'll see from there. But I don't think the guy should touch the field this season. That's just my personal opinion. But the Kamara case is interesting, and I believe this is from his fight he had in the Pro Bowl. He got in a physical fight in the elevator and beat this guy up. He punched the guy like 26 times. I believe that's what the suspension is. So I haven't heard any other news that he's been in trouble, but besides that fight he got in, but that's kind of been on the back burner, and we kind of hear rumors about how many games
the Deshaun thing's taken over, but everything you read is the Saints and Kamara are prepared for a lengthy suspension. And I mean, what's lengthy? Do they? I mean, is this the new standard? Is I think this is what the Players Association is trying to avoid: is these open-ended, lengthy. Right. I'm going to lose. My NFL team is going to lose one of its big stars for multiple weeks, multiple seasons, career. I mean, because Kamara and them are getting to the backside of their career. So if you suspend him for a year, do you end Kamara's career?
Especially at the running back position.
Yes.
And you got the Saints team who hasn't had Kamara and Thomas on the field together in a long, long time. So they're looking forward to that. But I kind of look at it on both sides, and I look at it on the NFL Players Association side and say this is something that we can't stand for. And I really think the NFL needs to sit down, not Roger Goodell, but the arbitrary, and they need to come up with if you do these things, this is the punishment. If you do these things, it's a harsher punishment. If you do these, and then you got to look at if you're a repeater, if you've done this twice, then it's a little bit harsher. It should not be this simple to come up with some punishments equal to the crime that they've committed. In my opinion.
Agreed. But the problem is what they're living by is these CBAs that they've signed. They've gone in and they've agreed to rules. So now you can't go and circumvent the CBA. So the players may end up making out on this deal because unlike baseball and the NBA and all this, the NFL Players Union holds some power and says, no, we're not going to let you do this to us. And they're the only ones that do. I mean, baseball gets railroaded into whatever they want. The NBA seems to sign whatever deal. Hockey signs whatever deal. The NFL players are just like, we're just not going to come to work. And could you imagine a work stoppage in the NFL? The NFL owners will never allow that. So they cave into these players and don't get to stronghold them like the other leagues do. And I think that's what they've done. They're living by, they know they have the CBA in their back pocket that they just signed. I think that's what the Players Association and Watson are hoping for, is that the CBA bails them out.
Right. And definitely could see that happening. And this is something going forward they need to work on in a CBA in the future, going towards what we need to figure out. They did in
this one by taking the power away directly, the whole judge, jury, executioner from Goodell. They brought the arbitrator in, but they didn't see a situation like Watson's or Kamara's or something coming. They were hoping these guys would not have these situations.
Yeah.
And here we got 2 of them in the one season. So
All right. Well, that's interesting. We should have some news on Deshaun, hopefully sooner than
Hopefully
later.
by Friday.
And this might drag out if the player
Yeah.
association's going on and arguing with the NFL owners. And so we'll keep up. We'll keep you updated on that as well. But the next headline: the Pittsburgh Steelers to change the name of a stadium. Heinz Field's been there 21 years. They're going to end a 21-year era to name it the Acrisure Stadium. Big Ben was asked about this. He said it just doesn't feel right. I would have to agree. I can't. I hate when they change the names of staples. The Staples Center in LA, the Los Angeles Lakers, they changed that to some Bitcoin crap, and I will still call it the Staples Center. I'll still call it Heinz Field. I'll still call it Lambeau Field. Of one day they're like, here's the Oscar Mayer Wiener Stadium. It doesn't. These are staples. Certain stadiums are staples in sports, right? I mean, you got your legendary stadiums. Some you don't really care about, and if they change the name, it's no big deal. But Heinz Field is a legendary stadium, and 21 years is a long time. It's whoever nowadays. It's whoever offers up the most money.
That's what it does. It's a payday.
It's a payday. Mm-hmm.
We change the name on whoever bids the highest, and the Giants have done this with Pac Bell and AT&T and all these other different names. It's been about 4 different names ever since the field over there has been McCovey Cove and all that. It's been the same stadium, but it's been about 4 different names. I mean, I remember when the Staples Center was the Forum. That's back in the day.
Yep.
And so it's just about finances. The owners are just trying to get as much money as they can possibly get. And so they're going to use it FedEx Field, and then they're going to change it to this and that. And it's just whoever bids. And it's not even, they're not even letting these contracts run out. They're just going the middle of the contract. Somebody's coming in and going, hey, we'll give you billions to change the name of your stadium. And they go, yeah, let's do it. And they just on a whim. Some Michigan-based, this Acrisure is some Michigan-based realty company. And they must have enough money to, why was a Michigan-based company want anything to do with naming rights in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it's like the Chicago Chicago company that bought Whataburger. It's like, do they even have Whataburgers in Chicago? It's just interesting.
No, they're building them though. That's the point of buying it.
Hopefully they're building them because Whataburger is fantastic. It's just weird.
That's 90% of these things are all about money now. Naming rights and stadium deals and the advertisements on the jerseys, the patches on the jerseys, they're all going to look like NASCAR drivers before it's all said and done because of money. The bottom line is money. You're
going to have advertisements on courts and fields and the sides of the end zones and all sorts of things before it's all said and done. But and the Texas Ranger ballpark has been the ballpark in Arlington, the Globe Life
Ameriquest Field, Globe Life Field,
Globe Life Park, and it's all been just 2 stadiums. So it's just they had the bell. They put that bell in there, and every time they had a home run, boom, and then they had to take it out. And, all right. Anyways, Marion Barber passed away a couple weeks ago, sadly, and they came out that he died of heat stroke. And which is really weird because they found him in his apartment with his heater on. They said it was 91 degrees in there, and he was in a bathtub with hot water running, which is really weird. It's the summertime in Texas. It's already hot outside. He's got the heater running. He's running a bath of hot water. They say that he liked to work out in sauna conditions, so maybe he just did it too hard in his house. I guess he's trying to make his house like a sauna, worked out really hard, didn't pay attention to his bodies, telling him that, hey, we should probably slow it down a little bit here. And look, heat stroke's no joke. Me and Craig don't have to really deal with it too much with our business as far as front load drivers, but the residential drivers at work, they got to deal with heat stroke all the time. So this is a little weird to have this happen. As far as I've never heard of anybody turn the heater on in the summertime here in Texas. It's just sad news, and it seems like one of those things where he wasn't thinking that this was going to do. Maybe he did this all the time, and it was no big deal. Maybe just one day his body obviously couldn't handle it, but it's a crazy accidental death here of Marion Barber.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he didn't eat properly or fluid properly or whatever, but it's been 106 or 107 in Texas the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We've had heat advisories every day, and I don't think probably when he did this, he probably didn't have heat advisories. And it sounds to me like he was trying to make his own sauna, his own sauna type conditions, had the shower on or the bathtub running and steam coming out of there, and had the heater turned up to 91, and was probably had a sauna suit on, probably, trying to stay in shape for whatever he was trying to stay in shape for. But a lot of these guys don't understand some people don't understand the symptoms, the
Right.
signs to look for. And of course, nobody was home. His fiance wasn't there to say, hey, no, cut it down. You're not feeling well. You're whatever. And if somebody was around, then maybe they can save him. If he alerted somebody that he was doing this and had some professional help. I mean, he was a professional athlete, but he's not a personal trainer. He doesn't understand the situations like this. They have places to go, and Marion Barber's made plenty of money in the NFL. If you want to work out under these conditions, go to one of these places that professionally do it and know what they're doing and know what to look for and know what can check your body out and run you through a little bit of a physical before you do it, and to try to avoid these situations. So it appears that he just didn't pay attention to the signs and symptoms that were there, and ends up losing his life at a young age over trying to stay in shape or trying to do something.
And I bet a million times that he's had those same feelings of being
100%.
exhausted and being a football player in the NFL and feeling nauseous and lightheaded, to where he's like, this is just the same old stuff. I can push through this, and pushed obviously a little bit too hard there, and his body said enough. And thoughts to his family, and just a sad situation there. But now I know why that. Now we know why that he passed away suddenly, but it's always the question you want answered medically when someone dies at a young age unexpectedly. But I heard today one more NFL thing. I didn't put it in here, Craig. I saw that the judge has ruled in the Henry Ruggs case that his alcohol blood level will be able to be used in the court against him, and they were trying to get that thrown out, but
Yes.
that has everything to do with why you did what you did. Alcohol is a very serious liquid, very serious thing to take seriously, and he made a horrible judgment call, and got behind a wheel and drove over 100 miles per hour, crashed in the back of a vehicle, killing a young lady and her dog, I believe, and caused a sad storm for that family. And look, he deserves to get punished and have the book thrown at him.
And this will do that, because without this evidence, they could have gotten a lot of things thrown out. There could have been my guy he had some cough syrup, he had this, it wasn't the alcohol, it was the argument with his fiance, it was this, it was that. That was what they were trying to eliminate, was that he was, I'm sure the blood alcohol level is going to come back astronomical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
From what you heard from the videos you saw at Top Golf, it appears that there was a lot of alcohol consumed that evening in a very short period of time directly before. There wasn't hours between the consumption of the alcohol and the driving of the vehicle. It was directly after. And all that plays into it. And all that has to be told
Oh,
I'm
definitely.
glad the judge allowed that to be in there because all that has to be told, or else the true verdict and the true justice of the story doesn't get told.
Exactly. And I don't even know why that would even be a thing to be able to throw that out. It'd be like, no, this is
Because the
evidence.
defense attorney is trying to
Yeah.
do
Yeah. Well, I know that's their
their
job. But,
job. They're
yeah.
trying to
But
do their job and help their client the best they can. It's a terrible, thoughtless job. I mean, from our standpoint, if it was our
yeah.
family member,
Yeah.
you wouldn't want the defense attorney to throw it out. But I guess if you were Henry Ruggs, you'd be like, yeah, let's try to get as much as you can
Definitely.
stricken, and so you see both sides of it. But I mean, the bottom line is this guy is never going to see the NFL again, and maybe
Not
a
even the light of
very
day.
good possibility he never sees the light of day again. And the thing of it is this whole time he's been living on house arrest with an ankle monitor, getting to live his own life. And so if I'm the parents or the family of this girl, I'm going, this guy's not even in a jail cell, and our daughter is we can't ever have that conversation with her again. We can't ever see her again. We can't ever talk to her again. And this guy gets to have his family over and have Thanksgiving as long as he doesn't leave his apartment or house.
Yep.
To me, that doesn't make sense.
Oh, yeah, definitely not fair at all there. But I'm glad that that's ruled in, and we'll see what his punishment is. But I'm pretty sure he'll be in prison for hopefully a really long time.
Yeah.
Going into baseball here, but we're coming up to the All-Star game, All-Star break, All-Star weekend with the home run derby and everything like that. Interesting stuff here. The Dodger Stadium workers threaten to strike at any time. The All-Star game is at Dodger Stadium. It's the first time they've hosted it in over 25 years or longer, maybe longer than that. It's July 19th. That would be a huge hit if no workers showed up. No one there to work the events, the concessions. Now there's no list. I've read through this article. There's no list of demands to exactly what they want. They just want to strike a fair new union contract with the Chicago-based Levy Restaurant Group, who hires about 1,500 employees for Dodger Stadiums. That includes all your concession workers, your bartenders, anything like that. So that'd be interesting if we're going into All-Star Weekend where they're looking to have a massive crowd, and then they show up and there's no one to work the stadium. There's no how are you going to serve food? You would lose out on millions of dollars in food sales and beer sales and different things like that. So I guess they don't think they're being properly paid or properly treated. I don't know. But that's what it kind of seems like to me. And they kind of start saying, hey, we're going to use this leverage against you at a very important time for MLB to make a lot of money that weekend. So I have never worked for a stadium. I don't know how they're treated, how much they get paid. But it's pretty interesting that popped out. And I was like, oh, wow, I've never heard about this before. So we'll see.
The timing of it's epic. I mean, whoever's leading the concession workers and the ticket takers and all this, whoever's leading this battle picked a amazing time to do this, because I'm going to tell you right now, if there's even a thought process that they won't have workers to cover this many fans and be able to do this, they're going to get whatever they want, because at this point, being July 12th, it's too late to move the game to a different venue. So the only other outside thing you could possibly do as a Dodger Stadium or as whoever runs this venue or whatever is go hire more people that are willing to work as backups, or use those type workers from other stadiums and fly them in and have them do the same job, and that are willing to work for the. But I mean, I can imagine that the people in Chavez Ravine, or whatever you want to call Dodger Stadium these days, I'm sure the employees, the management in the GM and the owners of the Dodgers are flipping out right now at what's going on, saying, hey, whatever we need to do to fix this needs to be fixed, because we're about to lose everything.
Right. Well, and it doesn't only affect the All-Star game. You got to think about the Dodger homestand. Dodgers have a 4-game homestand right after this, and they could sit out the All-Star weekend, that whole series. They could sit out the rest of the year, And also,
Yeah.
we would have the owner group that you would have the owner of the Dodgers down there serving out hot dogs.
Yeah,
Like,
because he's got to figure
Oh.
he's got to pay these guys somehow, and the concessions and all that, pay these payrolls. And if they lose all on this money, it could really affect the whole Dodgers organization for years to come.
Exactly. So, why don't you go ahead and talk about the next headline, since you are the one that popped that up last second there. I'll give you the talk there.
It appears that the Phoenix Suns or the Indiana Pacers are close to either giving DeAndre Ayton a offer sheet, which that could force Phoenix's hand to match the deal, which it's pretty well public knowledge that they're not going to if Indiana offers them what they think they're going to offer them, or if Phoenix doesn't just want to lose him outright and wants to get something for him. Indiana is willing to do a sign and trade with Miles Turner. It looks like maybe another guy or two. The NBA is basically just money for money. The money matches, then you could swap. So it might be 2 for 1. It might be a draft pick. It might be whatever. But it looks like by the end of the week that DeAndre Ayton will be an Indiana Pacer. And this to me is Phoenix losing out huge. I mean, I understand Miles Turner, if they do the sign and trade part of it, Miles Turner's a applicable piece, but he's not DeAndre Ayton.
No.
I mean, here's a guy in Ayton that up until game 3 or 4 owned the Mavericks and owned the first series of the playoffs, and it looked like he was going to have a career playoff, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if he found out the contract was going south or they weren't going to offer him money or whatever, but as soon as the Mavericks eliminated Phoenix, DeAndre Ayton made public statements that were like, I'm out. I'm done here. Unless you offer me a max deal, I'm completely done here. And that appears that the Phoenix Suns are not going to do that. And so Indiana is trying. I mean, if Indiana gets DeAndre Ayton, the East is now, I mean, you got the Timberwolves making their trade for Gobert. You've got Indiana making the trade for Ayton. You've got Detroit signing 2 rookies, and they still are offering. They still plan. They must have found out something with this domestic deal, because they still are going to offer that Miles Bridges a max deal, it sounds like, in the upcoming days. The East has just become a whole lot stronger, and the West has become, I mean, Phoenix is not the team they were. They're not the 1 seed.
Nope.
If you lose Ayton and swap him with Turner, in my
unless
opinion.
they get Kevin Durant, and then
Maybe.
but
you're losing out by letting Ayton walk. To me, Ayton's a huge piece you would use to get Durant.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think the West.
You're not going to give up on on Booker.
You know, I think. Oh no, you're not going to give up. You're not going to give Booker up. Definitely not.
Unless you use Turner, take Turner in the sign and trade, and then trade Turner to
Brooklyn.
the Nets, or Brooklyn.
The East. Look, if they get Ayton, the Pacers. I always thought that the Pacers. They've had decent talent.
They're solid now.
They're solid. So maybe he can go there and work with a good coach. But it's interesting. I think the Suns are out on Ayton unless he wants to take a pay cut.
It appears that way.
It
appears there.
Ayton's,
no talks. No, we're going to sign him to whatever we want. We're going to match whatever there's been no talk of that at all.
Yeah, and Ayton is interesting. We got on here and we questioned his toughness and his dog. We questioned his dog in him to want to get the job done. He's a good player. I just don't know if the Suns, maybe they see what we see and they don't want to give him a max contract if they think he's not going to work out there in Phoenix. It's interesting. I'm surprised that a different team, like someone that's more of a contender than the Indiana Pacers, aren't calling him up and saying, hey, let me have this guy. But when you talk about strength in East and West, the West is pretty strong. The Lakers will fall off unless they get Kyrie Irving, which a report came out today that the Lakers are unwilling to give multiple first round picks for the Kyrie Irving trade. So I think that might fall through. I'm not sure if that's going to work. And if the Lakers don't get Kyrie Irving, they're basically dead in the water unless Anthony Davis can play all season long. Then this team has gotten weaker. But you look at the Timberwolves should be pretty dang good this year. Memphis Grizzlies will probably fall off a little bit. I think they're going to be pretty good as well, still in the top 5. Dallas Mavericks may have gotten better. We'll see. But NBA is looking to shape up to have some competition on both sides of the East and West, which is always fantastic. The East will
not be the cakewalk that it has been for the last several years. Right. You'll have Miami, you'll have Milwaukee, you'll have Toronto will be better. I mean, they were all young this year. Philadelphia, Indiana, if they get Ayton, Detroit. I mean, it becomes not just one or two teams. It becomes you get the full 8. And so I am just shocked at how quickly, I mean, Ayton went from being the guy that was going to be built around him and Booker were going to be the future of the team. And now all of a sudden in a one playoff time frame, Phoenix has just become out on him. Even at the start of the playoffs, they were like, no, we're going to get a deal done. It's going to be fine. We're going to talk after the playoffs. And then all of a sudden I don't know if it was the way they lost or if they saw something in the games, because in games 1 and 2, he owned Dallas. He absolutely did whatever he wanted in the paint. He had double-digit points. He had double-doubles in both of the first 2 games. He basically just owned it. And I came on here and said, Ayton's about to take over and maybe be the MVP of the series. And all of a sudden, he just disappeared. So I don't know if after games 1 and 2, he went to them and said, I want a max deal because this is what I do. This is what I can bring to the table. And did he jump the gun and go to the Suns in the middle of the playoffs and they didn't like that? I don't have any idea. But all of a sudden, in the middle of the playoffs, it was like the two sides just split.
They switch arms as fast as the Browns did on Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did some breaking news here in the NFL that I was trying to get to. The Patriots trade wide receiver N'Keal Harry to the Bears for a 2024 7th-round pick. N'Keal Harry was wanted out of New England, so they traded him away for a 7th-round pick to the Bears.
Peanuts
for nothing. I don't. That's interesting. N'Keal Harry, decent wide receiver. I mean, he's the guy that had some
definitely
potential.
Gives Chicago better than what they had.
Oh yeah, Chicago had dog crap for wide receivers.
Had the worst wide receiver crew in football, according to Pro Football Focus or whatever that list was.
Right, and they still have the worst. This doesn't make them that great. And Green Bay was at number 31, right in front of them. But it's interesting. I don't know why he would want out. Maybe he doesn't feel like he's. Maybe
him and Mac don't have the click. Maybe Mac Jones, has a rapport with a different wide receiver, and he doesn't think he's going to get the touches. I don't know. Or Belichick and him don't get along. There could be a lot of reasons to want out of New England. But man, a 7th-round pick, you'd have liked to think Harry would have gotten a 3 or a 4. I mean, not. I mean, 7's pretty much Mr. Irrelevant. That's
That's just the hey you want. That's just the hey you want out. Okay, well then get out. We don't care about what we get back.
No, that pick means nothing.
It's a great pickup for Chicago. I mean, shoot, Green Bay. I wish they had gave him a 7th-round pick for that.
Yeah,
so interesting.
Anybody could have done that.
It just broke.
Dallas is looking for wide receiver help. Green Bay, Chicago. I mean, wow, that's
desperate for some wide receivers. So
that's a great move for Chicago.
Definitely, unfortunately, but I still think they need a quarterback. But
I think the quarterback
see.
needs time. I don't know how.
Well,
I don't think
yeah,
we really
he's
know how good he is. I've never
yeah.
been an
We'll
Ohio State
see. I
quarterback
don't
fan, so I'm not.
They
I'm
all
not. Let's not think that I'm dying on that hill.
Craig's going out for the MVP for Justin Fields this year. So
No, 100% not. But I think he's probably better than the trash that everybody says he is. I just think that was such a.
we got to give him time, and he's got no one around him.
That's
That's
what
the
I'm saying.
problem.
That was such a
Chicago,
reclamation project that he came into. It wasn't like he came into Mac Jones where he had a nucleus around him.
And they got
The
worse.
poor kid
They got
up in the
worse
Jets.
season.
Yeah, and the poor kid up in the Jets, Zach Wilson, he's had nothing around him, and they're talking about getting rid of him already. And these guys just aren't getting the opportunities these days.
If he would stop sleeping with his best friend's mother, then that's here nor there as that story came out.
That's a rumor. That's not factual.
Oh, come on. That's well, it's weird because apparently his longtime girlfriend started dating his best friend. They were calling his best friend out like he broke the bro code, but then she bust out with, well, no, he didn't because she's been sleeping with his mom. And I'm like, what in the world's going on? So all the memes have been out this week with that, but that's your little bit of breaking news there that popped up on the NFL. That's gonna be it for your show, guys. It's just a headline Tuesday. We were able to get 45 minutes on here, longer than I expected. So good job, Craig. And our locker, my locker this week, we're riding together doing the downtown route. Unfortunately, it's been a pain in the butt. Got my new Dallas Mavericks hat in. You can't see that. The draft. This is the draft day hat. So the new NBA draft day hats. So me being a newly Mavericks fan, I got that first hat out of the way. Got to figure out something to do with my Lakers hats. I don't know. If I just want to throw them away or give them to Goodwill or something. But I'm a hat guy. I got my Texas Ranger All-Star hat coming in tomorrow. That one looks pretty sick. So it's all black with a gold tee. So I got that coming in tomorrow. We got work tomorrow. Other than that, that's pretty much about it. Just trying to survive this week and hopefully don't have to run this downtown route for a while. But how about you, Craig? What you got going on this week?
Well, we're looking forward to the All-Star game. That's next week, but I look forward to the Home Run Derby. And you look at Lonzo, can he have a three-peat? That's really in these type of things doesn't really happen very often. And it's interesting to see that guys that are on the backside of their career, the Albert Pujolses and stuff are going to participate in the Home Run Derby. I think it helps get the fanfare and helps, broaden the game. Just like we said when Pujols and Cabrera get to play in the game,
Right.
I think that helps the fan base. And I think with the work stoppage and the strike and everything that went on, I think baseball needs this. I think baseball needs to have a flawless All-Star game. And man, if the venue folds on them, it's not going to be good. So they have to get that fixed. Other than that, we're trying to dodge this heat. It's just 107 in the shade. We're working on teaching the 17-year-old how to drive. That's a new endeavor. And basically just going to have a weekend, work Saturday, but try to use the rest of the weekend to relax and recover from what appears going to be. It's going to be a
long week.
long week.
Yes.
Other than that, we get ready for Friday's show and we try to see if we get some results on the Watson deal and training camp's coming up. It's fixing to really not be as dead as we thought it was. It's kind of the NBA offseason has been a lot more active than we thought it was going to be. And it's really created some different headlines and some different talking points.
Which speaking of that, I got some breaking news. It just keep popping up on my ESPN here, and this is NBA
Mine's
related.
over there.
The the NBA teams are reporting that the Jazz are starting to listen to trades for Donovan Mitchell. And we talked about this. We said Donovan
We
is
saw this
next.
coming. We didn't know if it
He's
was going to be
next.
before or
Yep.
mid-season.
Um,
I think that's the only way out. Get that kid out of there, and he doesn't want to go through a full rebuild. You guys get draft picks and can rebuild faster if you get rid of all of them.
You cannot be half in on a rebuild. You got to go all in.
No,
And it made no sense for a guy like Donovan to stay on a team with no stars around him who they're not going to bring in right away. And his contract's up in 2 or 3 years anyways. It just makes more sense to trade him.
But if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you better get moving, because the longer you wait, there ain't going to be anybody left. The Donovan trade's going to fall. And these teams aren't going to have the money left. They're not going to be able to get Irving and Durant
I think we could see, because Irving or Durant's not going to Utah. They're just not.
Not to Utah, but what I'm saying is if Donovan goes to Phoenix, well, then Phoenix isn't going to go trade for Durant. If he goes to Miami, then they're
Well, I could see it. I could see a team trading for Donovan and then using Donovan
Butler wants him down in Miami.
I could see him trading for Donovan and then using Donovan as a trade piece to Brooklyn for Kevin Durant, something like that. But
like a double move.
Yeah, and they talked weeks ago that they're not interested in trading Donovan. They're going to build around him. But me and you both,
I think Donovan went to him and went, "Nah, I don't think so."
And that could be. The Jazz could have said, "We're going to build around you," and he's kind of like, "Nah." Well, and there was rumors, there was all the fight between them last year that one of these have to go. They will not work together. And after they traded Gobert, there was rumors that Donovan kind of went in there and said, "What are we doing? You just traded away my best teammate. Why? Like not my best buddy, but you traded away one of our best talents. So what are we doing here?" And maybe he didn't like the plan that they set out in front of him. He said, "Okay, well, I'm willing to move forward, going somewhere else." And it just doesn't make any sense for him to stay there. So that's good. He's a good player. Is he a superstar? I would say no. I would say he's a star. But he's gonna, wherever he goes, if he goes somewhere, which it looks like the Jazz are willing to kind of open up and accept that he kind of wants out, then he's going to add to a team, bring in some offense, and hopefully some leadership there. But
well, hopefully, maybe by Friday we have all this circled out.
Hopefully,
hopefully, Ayton could be on the move, Donovan could be on the move, and it could be a very interesting shakeout. So
very interesting show on Friday too. Yeah. Hopefully, I mean we thought this episode was going to be short, and it's almost an hour, so we're feeling that time, which is great.
Hopefully, Jeff will be with us on Friday, and we'll cover the spotlight of the week. We'll cover some more headlines, and if anything breaks between now and Friday, probably one of us jump on, and especially if it's the Deshaun Watson news.
Yes.
Keep an eye out on the YouTube channel and the Twitch and the Facebook for some breaking news, because we'll be jumping on here and talking about it real quick if any of that comes down.
And what we're gonna do here, I run the TikTok page, and TikTok is fantastic if you have videos under 3 minutes. But a lot of times we get talking about something and it's longer than 3 minutes. So I posted a short last week about some fan ideology I thought needed to change. So go check that out. It's about a 10 or 11 minute video, and those are going to be called extra points. And they're not going to be each week. Just whatever me, Craig, or Jeff have a topic that we want to add more to. Could be something we've already talked about, we want to add more to, or something we just want to bring up or talk about. We can come on here and give you a short little video clip, kind of explaining our thoughts and whatnot, and we'll call those extra points. So look forward to those as well. TikTok's been great, but 3 minutes is sometimes not long enough to put out a thought that you've been thinking about. And so look forward to those as well. And feel free to share, like the show, comment. You can come on here on YouTube and
Email us.
comment
We're on social
live.
media.
Yes. Email us at outspokensportscast@gmail.com. We are on social media. We are on every podcast platform, and we stream live every episode to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. So come find us, guys. We've been trying to grow the show. We put out everywhere. We are on Apple. We are on Google Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We are on iHeartRadio. We are pretty much anywhere you can listen or find or watch a live stream or listen to a podcast show. So feel free to listen, guys. I think that's going to be it for this week. Guys, stay safe. God bless. And remember, keep it outspoken.